LSU Baseball moves to 5-0 on the season Wednesday afternoon with a 12-1 8-inning run rule victory over the Colonels of Nicholls State Wednesday afternoon in Alex Box Stadium. Plus, we'll go through 5 games so far of the 2026 baseball season, some stats and some numbers that stand out for the lineup and the pitching staff as well. We'll go over this and so much more on a brand new edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. I'm your host, as always, Justin Babin Jr. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Welcome. It is Thursday, February 19th, 2026. Thank you, folks, as always, for tuning in. I hope you and your family are doing well and having an amazing week. But let's dive right into it. So, the headline of the day, LSU Baseball Wednesday afternoon, moved to 5-0 on the season, defeated the Nicholls State Colonels in Alex Box Stadium. The final score was 12-1 in an 8-inning run rule victory. The number one thing that stands out to me about this game is through the first 5 games, this was probably the best game as a whole for the LSU pitching staff so far this season. We'll get into that and more, but let's dive into our game log. So, Zach Cowan got the start on the mound for the Tigers. Another lineup thing to pay attention to is Chris Stanfield was out once again with that injured hand, that swollen and bruised hand. So Tanner Reeves got another start playing in left field. Cowan got the start in this game, only pitched 1 1/3 innings, gave up a run on 3 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts, gave up a solo bomb in the first inning to the second batter he faced in the game. Opposing teams, I think through the first 2 outings of the season for Zach Cowan, and Saturday, I believe he pitched in the 9th inning against Milwaukee and then started the game yesterday, Wednesday afternoon, against Nicholls. In those 2 outings, opposing teams kind of saw Zach Cowan well and kind of got a few hits off of him. And it's not a thing you want to see, but it's something we need to be honest about in his first 2 outings. I don't love how teams are seeing him well and hitting off of him well. Look, we know how good Zach Cowan was for the Tigers last season. In clutch situations, he was, him and Casey Evans were your best 2 relievers throughout the 2025 season. Think back to that amazing start he had in the College World Series in Omaha against the Arkansas Razorbacks. But he has, struggled a little bit in his first 2 outings. And for Cowan, he's not like other guys in where he's not a fastball-heavy pitcher. His best pitch is his off-speed stuff, specifically his changeup. And if his changeup isn't working on a particular day, those are the days where he can struggle. So that's been an issue. And then leaving balls up in the zone a little bit too much have been an issue in his first 2 outings. But we know how good, the potential of Zach Cowan, how good he can be, how good he was throughout the season for you last year. In 2025, hasn't been the greatest start to the season for Zach Cowan, but I expect, him and Nate Yeske to figure it out and fix it, because, of course, you know who Zach Cowan can be, and you know who you need him to be as one of your top bullpen arms returning for this season in 2026. So LSU gave up 1 run in the top of the first, but scored 5 runs in the bottom of the first, did the Tigers, and that was highlighted by a grand slam hit by Oregon State transfer Trent Caraway. It was Caraway's first homer as a Tiger, his first homer on the season, his first homer as a Tiger after he hit 6 homers for the Oregon State Beavers in the postseason alone last year, breaking the single postseason Oregon State record for most home runs hit in a single postseason. So good job for Trent Caraway. Caraway continues to have a good start to the season. We'll go over a few numbers a little bit later. But besides Zach Cowan, the LSU pitching staff was really, really great yesterday and had perhaps their best, as a staff, their best game performance so far through 5 games of the season in the early season. So the 4 relievers that came in behind Cowan combined for 6 2/3 hitless, scoreless innings. So the 4 guys who came in behind Cowan were really great with those 6 2/3 hitless, scoreless innings. So it started with I want to say Dax Dathy. It's either Dax Dathy or Dax Dathe. We'll just go with Dax. But Dax came in and did a good job in relief behind Cowan, he pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings, did Dax with 2 strikeouts. You saw freshman Zion Theophilus, what a name, freshman Zion Theophilus came into the game and also pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings with a strikeout as well, even though Theophilus did walk 3 batters in his first collegiate appearance as an LSU Tiger. But I thought Theophilus was pretty good. I mean, the strike zone was a little bit tight throughout the game yesterday, if we're being kind of honest. And typically, what you see with these freshman pitchers in their first collegiate appearances is they're a little bit amped, especially if they're pitching in Alex Box Stadium. Of course, so much history there. But I thought overall, Theophilus did a good job. You also had lefty Santiago Garcia pitched 1 scoreless inning as well with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. But the number one guy that stands out, the player of the game really yesterday, Wednesday afternoon, was freshman right-hander Reagan Ricken. Reagan Ricken was awesome in his first collegiate appearance as a Tiger yesterday. Ricken pitched 3 scoreless, hitless innings with 2 strikeouts, and I thought Ricken was awesome in his first collegiate appearance. He retired the first 6 batters he faced yesterday on just 15 total pitches. 12 of those 15 pitches were thrown for strikes. It was Ricken was really good, really smooth, really calm yesterday in his first appearance, first collegiate outing as a freshman. He's got a low 90s fastball with multiple off-speed options, including a good changeup, and Ricken said post-game to the media after the game that besides that changeup, he is also currently working on tightening his slider as well. But Ricken was the player of the game. He was super impressive, coming out in your first collegiate appearance and throwing 3 scoreless, hitless innings, striking out 2 batters. I thought Ricken was really, really good. Coming out of the 2025 high school recruiting class, Ricken was ranked as a top 15 right-handed pitcher in America coming out of the 2025 high school class, and he showed it. He was very, very impressive. Jay Johnson spoke highly of Ricken after the game, saying that he could see Ricken eventually during his 3 years at LSU pitching on Fridays for the Tigers as a potential ace for the Tigers in years to come. I'm interested to see what role Ricken, if any, can carve out in this team as a freshman in 2026. Because again, what you saw yesterday, he had great command. He was, on point with the fastball, had some good all-speed offerings as well. And just, he was very, very impressive. Jake Brown had another 2 RBIs in this game to go along with his hot start that we've talked about at the plate. And big John Pearson came off the bench and hit a pinch hit 3-run bomb in the bottom of the 8th to walk it off for the Tigers, give the Tigers the 8-inning run rule victory by final score of 12-1 Wednesday afternoon over the Nicholls State Colonels to move LSU to 5-0 on the early season. So again, I thought overall it was the best, from a 9-inning game or an 8-inning game standpoint, the best game for this LSU pitching staff through the first 5 games of the season. And it was guys that, you didn't see your top end guys. You're not going to see your top end guys usually in a midweek game. You didn't see Gavin Guidry or Maverick Rizzi or Devin Sheeran or Cooper Williams. You didn't see those guys, but the guys that came in specifically behind Zach Cowan were great. They were impressive, and the guy that stood out to you the most was Reagan Ricken in his first collegiate appearance. He was dynamite, and he was impressive, and he's the guy that stood out to me, and Jay Johnson and the staff have a lot of huge plans for during his next 3 years at LSU. I'll be interested to see if any type of role, what role can he carve out as a freshman on this pitching staff, because he was very, very impressive. And again, the player of the game for the Tigers yesterday. The Tigers now head to Jacksonville, Florida for a 3-game weekend series Friday through Sunday to compete in the Live Like Lou Jacksonville Classic against 3 Power 4 teams, and they play all afternoon games, so around 1 to 2 o'clock. I believe they play 1 p.m. Friday, the Indiana Hoosiers. I know they play Notre Dame Saturday at 11 a.m. and then they play UCF or Central Florida, Sunday at 2 p.m. These early season, tournaments going out of state, they've done a few of these. They've gone to Texas for a couple of years. Now they're going to Jacksonville. It's always fun to see. Now, Indiana, Notre Dame, and Central Florida aren't like the top tier in terms of Power Four conference teams, but they're still, it's still a level up in competition compared to, although I did think Milwaukee was a feisty, scrappy team who's going to be one of the best teams in their conference this year. And I think that Kent State team that LSU beat on Monday night is pretty good. I think they were predicted by D1 Baseball in the preseason to win the MAC, to win their conference, and make it to NCAA regional this year. That Nicholls State team they played yesterday, I don't think Nicholls State is very good, if I'm being honest. But look, it was impressive for the Tigers to win yesterday, and it was impressive for the Tigers to have really a dominant outing on the pitcher's mound. And now you turn into, now this weekend's going to tell us a lot. It's going to tell us the most a weekend can tell us in these first 4 weekends with playing Power 4 conference action against Indiana Friday, Notre Dame Saturday, and Central Florida on Sunday. The only unfortunate thing is that these 3 games will not be televised on ESPN like 95% of LSU's games are throughout the season. They're going to be televised on D1Baseball.com. And for you to watch these games, you have to go to, I'm giving you the website now, rhstv.com/D1Baseball. Again, that's rhstv.com/D1Baseball. And you have to go to that site and purchase the $30 streaming subscription to watch the Tigers play this weekend. It's one of the things that annoys you the most every year for the Tigers when they go and play in these, tournaments against other Power 4 schools in the non-conference in the early season is often televised on D1 Baseball. D1 Baseball streaming has had their issues in past years. I remember they had their issues last year with covering things as well. I believe there were like hundreds and hundreds of Tiger fans waiting, like on a queue list, on a wait list, waiting to enter the game to actually watch the game. So that apparently this year, Kendall Rogers, the owner of D1 Baseball, the owner of D1 Baseball said they moved to a third-party streaming service. So hopefully the streaming is more smooth and works out better this year now that they're with a third party. But again, it's rhstv.com/D1Baseball. And unfortunately, you have to pay $30 to watch the Tigers play in the Live Like Lou Jack's Baseball Classic this weekend. I bit the bullet last night and bought the $30 subscription because I really wanted to watch the Tigers play this weekend. I know some of you can or might not want to for just 3 games, but yeah. So again, that's going to be important, and it's going to tell us a lot more than any other games can tell you through these first 4 weeks before you start SEC play on March 13th. But that is my recap of the game yesterday. Again, the Tigers moved to 5-0 on the season, beat Nicholls State in an 8-inning run rule victory by a final score of 12-1. Let me take the time now to tell you about our wonderful daily sponsors over here at the Babin on the Bayou show and the team over at Shield Heating and Cooling. And when you're talking about Shield Heating and Cooling, you're talking about a team of experts with multiple decades of experience as experts in the AC industry. And I love my audience. I want to reward you guys for always faithfully tuning into the show. So I want to give something away completely free to you. So if you call the trustworthy, the reliable, the best team in the business today over at Shield Heating and Cooling at the number 225-46-BAYOU. That's 225-46-BAYOU, B-A-Y-O-U. You tell the team at Shield Heating and Cooling, the best in the business, that you heard about them from the Babin on the Bayou show, and I'll be giving away a free AC system clean-in checks for every AC system in your home, whether you have 1 AC system in your home or 4 or 5 AC systems in your home. It doesn't really matter. Call the best team in the business today over at Shield Heating and Cooling. They're trustworthy, reliable. Call them today at 225-46-BAYOU, B-A-Y-O-U, to take a part in this amazing giveaway as a sign of my gratitude to you folks for always faithfully tuning into the show. It's completely free, saving you money. Again, free AC system, cleaning checks for every AC system in your home. If you call Shield Heating and Cooling at the number, again, that's 225-46 Bayou, Bayou, and that's Shield Heating and Cooling, your local comfort defenders. And we greatly appreciate them for being the daily title sponsors of the Babin on the Bayou show. Okay, so as mentioned before, you're heading to Jacksonville, Florida this weekend to play Indiana, Notre Dame, and UCF. So that's going to be an interesting one to pay attention to. But I thought we would go through some stats and some numbers. I know it's early. I know it's only been 5 games so far on the season. But I thought we would go through some takeaways and some stats and some numbers through the 5 games, through the first week of the season, really, now that the first week of the season is over. So we'll start with the lineup, and the best hitter at the plate, the hottest hitter at the plate, has been one Jake Brown, who has just been raking so far this season. Jake Brown, we talked about it in the preseason, how he was going to be a leader, a veteran, a captain of this team, and he has come out and absolutely raked to start the season. Through the first 5 games, Brown leads the Tigers in hits with 11, RBIs with 12, and homers with 3. Through the first 5 games, he has been absolutely scorching hot at the plate. Just love what Jake Brown has been doing. And again, we've talked about it before. Jake Brown has always been a great athlete. He's always been a great player at LSU. But the way he's starting this season, he's been your best player through the first week. He's been awesome. He's been raking super, super hot at the plate. I'm interested, we know Jake Brown's going to be able to hit and rake against right-handed pitchers. I'm interested to see, as the season goes along, how Jake Brown does against left-handed pitchers in the more times he sees them, because that's been the only criticism, one of the only criticisms you've really had through, Jake Brown's previous 2 years at LSU was his performance against lefties. That's why last year, usually the lineup would work out where Jake Brown would start in right field when a right-hander was on the mound for the opposing team, and senior Josh Pearson would normally start in right field when a lefty was on the mound, because Jake Brown in past years has struggled to find it and to figure it out against left-handed pitchers. But this year, he's going to be in the lineup every day. He's going to be your everyday right fielder. I mean, he is your veteran. He's the leader of this team. He's been in fuego, scorching hot, on fire at the plate to start the season. And you're interested to see, if that continues. And I'm interested to look out in how he performs against lefties. I mean, he's obviously got great power, and he's been doing great stuff to start the season. And he's been your MVP, your best player through your first 5 games. I listen to a lot of other guys as well. There are many other people who cover LSU out there as well who are great, who I pay attention to. I don't feel like people are talking about Oregon State transfer Trent Caraway quite enough through the first 5 games. Trent Caraway through the first 5 games of the season is actually second on the team with 10 RBIs on the season, and he's impressed me at the plate, and we talked about it. He raked in the postseason last year for Oregon State, had a great postseason, and now, he's carrying that over through the first 5 games as a Tiger through the first 5 games of the season in 2026, and he's been great at the plate. I mean, he's been really, really impressive. Again, 10 RBIs through 5 games. Had his first homer, that grand slam in the game against Nicholls State yesterday. So I like what I've seen from Trent Caraway at the plate. 2 other transfers. The transfers have been really impressive between Caraway and then also Zach York and Seth Dardar have been really impressive at the plate as well. Both Zach York and Seth Dardar, both of those guys lead the team with walks drawn. Both of those guys, and Dardar and York through 5 games, have each drawn 7 walks each. So again, they're veteran guys that have played 3 years previously in college baseball before coming over to LSU. So they both have shown great plate discipline so far in the season. And specifically, Seth Dardar has been one of the guys that has stood out to me the most. Seth Dardar through 5 games has 5 hits, 6 RBIs, and 2 homers. And really, we talked about in the preseason the competition that you would see. The most competitive position coming into the season would be second base between Dardar, Tanner Reeves and Braden Simpson as well. But Seth Dardar is really making it hard on Jay Johnson to ever take him out of the lineup because he's just been really, really good through the first 5 games. Veteran guy, 5 hits, 2 bombs, been an on-base machine as well. When he hasn't gotten a hit, he got on base with 7 walks drawn, and Dardar has been great through the first 5 games, and I don't know how you take him out of the lineup. I think he's going to be in the lineup at second base every game this weekend against Power 4 competition. I don't know how you take him out of the lineup. So I really like what I'm seeing from Seth Dardar. Of course, Zach York has been impressive as well, your everyday first baseman. York, through 5 games, has 4 hits, 3 RBIs, and 2 homers as well. 2 moonshots that he's been hitting. And then York's been good. Cade Aaron Beatty has been impressive with 5 hits as well. And Cade Aaron Beatty, again, he was, according to Jay Johnson, the MVP, the best player at the plate in fall ball for LSU. And Jay Johnson has given high praise to Cade Aaron Beatty. Has said openly that he thinks at some point that Cade Aaron Beatty could just be flat out the best player on this team at some point. And you see the power. And even when, early in the season, he's had some timing issues at times. But you see, even when he's off timing, he can, with his power, he can get it to the outfield easy. And you see what Cade Aaron Beatty, what Jay Johnson sees in Cade Aaron Beatty. You've seen that through the first 5 games as well. This is all without, Chris Stanfield hasn't played for the last 3 games. And then Derek Curiel, who is your best player on this team, going to be a top 10 draft pick potentially in 2026, has 6 hits. But I don't even think Curiel is playing up to how, how good we know Derek Curiel can play. We know he can play better. I don't think he's been terrible the first week. I think he's been seeing the ball better, in the last 3 games than he did in the first 2 games, Friday and Saturday against Milwaukee. But I still think Curiel can play better. And when Curiel is playing at his best, we know how good and loaded this lineup can be. I mean, you have guys coming off the bench and hitting bombs. Mason Braun has been impressive as well. The freshman, Mason Braun, who was the #1, the top-ranked first baseman in America coming out of the 2025 high school class. He hit a 3-run bomb the other day in Monday's game, I believe, against Kent State. And then last night as well, he didn't hit a homer, but you see with Mason Braun how the opposite field power that Mason Braun has already, shown. I mean, he is, getting out in front of it or something and hitting it to the opposite field easy, even for a pop fly. But the opposite field power that Mason Braun has, he's there. I mean, he hit an opposite field home run right down the left line foul pole the other day. Like, you saw it, and you see the power, the immense power, the light tower power that Mason Braun has. And he's eventually, at some point during his LSU career, going to be a big key contributor on this team. But I really like, again, the #1 guy. I think your transfers have done well so far between Caraway, Dardar, and York. Specifically, Seth Dardar, I've been super, super high on through the first 5 games. But Jake Brown has been absolutely raking at the plate. He's been on fire, and what he's been able to do. And the home runs that Jake Brown is hitting, guys, the 3 that he's hit are not wall scrapers. He's hitting moonshots. Each homer, each of the 3 homers that Jake Brown has hit so far this season have indeed been no doubters. So I just love what Jake Brown is doing at the plate. This lineup is deep. This lineup is talented. And you don't have Chris Stanfield right now, and I don't even think Derek Curiel had his best first week. And eventually, Curiel's going to find it and get on fire too, because we know how good Curiel can be. He's the best player on this team, and I don't even think he didn't have a terrible first week by any means, but I don't even think he played, his best in his first week of the season. So once you get Stanfield back and once you get Curiel going, I mean, man, this lineup is deep. This lineup is loaded. It is talented. And yeah, the sky's the limit For the pitching staff, I mean, you've struck out 73 batters in just 5 games. Again, in 2024 and 2025, in the previous 2 seasons, LSU has finished the season as leading the nation in pitching staff strikeouts as a team, leading the nation in strikeouts the past 2 seasons. And this season, they start with, in 5 games, 73 strikeouts, which is a big number. I think your top two pitchers, the most impressive guys you've seen so far, have been Gavin Guidry and Cooper Moore. Those guys have been absolutely lights out. Gavin Guidry has been dominant in his 2 outings that he's pitched in, against the first game opening day against Milwaukee and then Kent State. And I loved what Cooper Moore did Saturday as the Saturday starter. I thought he was awesome Saturday. So I think you've seen good things from Guidry and Cooper Moore. Maverick Rizzi and Devin Sheeran have also pitched well through the first couple of games, to the first 5 games. I loved how Reagan Ricken, again, was awesome yesterday. The player of the game, to me, the guy that stood out the most yesterday in the game against Nicholls State. Look, through the first 4 games, so not counting yesterday, in which I think you only gave up 1 run and you had your best overall performance as a pitching staff in a game so far. But through the first 4 games, so the Milwaukee series and Kent State, this staff had an ERA at 6, which isn't great. The ERA at 6 is a little bit high through the first 4 games, but I don't think that tells you that this pitching staff hasn't been good through the first 5 games. They've been really good. I mean, they've been really good through with the 73 strikeouts through 5 games, with what Guidry's done, what Moore's done, what Maverick Rizzi and Devin Sheeran has done. I think Cooper Williams is going to be a big factor on this team. And eventually some guys like Zach Cowan and Jaden Newt are going to be able to figure it out. We've seen the potential. We've seen what, at their best, Cowan and Newt can do. And it's early season, guys, and they're going to figure it out as well. And I think Kason Evans is going to settle into the rotation. Kason Evans didn't look terrible through the first 3 innings last Friday against Milwaukee. Through the first 3 innings, he struck out 7 batters. He kind of ran into a wall, honestly, in that 4th inning against Milwaukee last Friday. But we know how good Kason Evans can be, and we know that eventually he's going to settle down and he's going to figure it out. And so, look, I think through the first 5 games of the season, it's been really, really good to see. And I think this weekend's going to tell you a lot. This weekend is going to tell you a lot more than the opening weekend against Milwaukee did, because you're playing Power 4 competition. I mean, you still have William Schmidt also is another guy I wanted to throw in there as the wild card on this team, who can be an absolute beast and a difference maker if he figures it out command-wise. So, look, it's a great first week. You've got a good non-conference test this weekend. And it's going to tell you a lot. It's going to tell you more than the Milwaukee series told you. I'm interested to see, I think, tomorrow how Kason Evans does in his second start of the season, what they were able to go over between the Milwaukee start and, the start tomorrow against Indiana. Again, that game tomorrow, first pitch is at 1 p.m. tomorrow against Indiana. I'm interested to see how Kason Evans does. I don't know why, something's telling me that Derek Curiel is going to have a great weekend. Something's telling me that Derek Curiel is starting to find it, and by the time we get here on Monday, we're going to talk about Derek Curiel breaking out for the first time in the 3-game stretch this weekend. I think a new change of scenery, not being at the box this weekend, going over to Jacksonville, Florida, where it's sunny, where it's nice. I don't know what it is. I just think Derek Curiel is going to pop off this weekend. I'm interested to see him. And then, again, this weekend's going to tell you a lot. It's going to tell you, you're going to learn the most about this team. The most you're going to learn about this team before SEC play is going to come this weekend. So I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. And I'm ready for this weekend and excited to see how the Tigers perform. But I think you've seen the depth pitching staff-wise and lineup-wise. I mean, you think about all the guys through the first 5 games that have pinch hit and come off the bench, like Seth Dardar coming off the bench last Friday and hitting a bomb. John Pearson coming off the bench yesterday and hitting a bomb. We've talked about it. You have more than 9 guys that can be, you have 13 to 14 starter caliber players, and you only have 9 spots to give them. And eventually, again, I say all of this, you've seen the production, you've seen the power, you've seen how good this lineup can be, and it's without Chris Stanfield, who's eventually going to come back and contribute for you, and it's without Derek Curiel's best. I don't think Curiel was bad opening week through these first 5 games, but we know he can be better. We know he can be better. And I think he will be better this weekend. I just have some type of feeling that Curiel is going to have a great weekend in Jacksonville at the plate. And then as the season goes along, yes, he's going to be able to figure it out. And I think through the first 5 games, you've had Gavin Guidry and Cooper Moore be excellent. And Cooper Williams and Rizzi and Sheeran have also been good as well. Reagan Ricken was phenomenal yesterday. And eventually some of these guys like Newt and Cowan and Kaysen Evans and William Schmidt are going to figure it out because we know how good they can be. So I'm excited for this weekend. We'll have a little preview show tomorrow. Tomorrow, the game against Indiana, first pitch is at 1. So I think tomorrow, the Friday show for tomorrow's show will come out at noon, officially 1 hour before first pitch against Indiana. We'll do a little bit of a pregame preview for that, But I'm excited for this weekend. I think it's going to tell you a lot. Again, unfortunately, I know not every one of you can watch it, unfortunately. And, it is annoying that you got to pay $30 to watch the Tigers play this weekend. But it's going to tell you a lot, and I'm interested in it. But before we get out of here, I did want to just say LSU women's basketball and Kim Mulkey's crew is back in action tonight in Oxford at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the number 17 team in the country. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. on ESPN. So I think with women's basketball, yes, the losses the past 2 weeks at Texas and South Carolina on Saturday sting. They hurt. They were tough. You wanted to win those games. But the Tigers on the season still have wins over number 4 Texas, number 9 Duke, number 11 Oklahoma, number 24 Georgia, and number 25 Alabama. They play the number 17 team in Ole Miss tonight on the road, and then coming up on February 26th, they also play the number 21 team in the country in the Tennessee Volunteers. So you still have everything in front of you. You're still trying to set up and get set for. You want to peak in March and be your best in March, and you're still working on that, and you're still getting there. This team still has plenty of talent, and they still have the ability to make a Final Four run potentially in March. So now, yes, the losses to South Carolina, the losses to Texas, they sting, and they've been tough. But you have a lot of ranked wins. You can pick up 2 more ranked wins in the coming weeks before the SEC tournament in early March. I'm excited to see the Tigers back in action tonight. Again, that tip-off is 8 p.m. on ESPN in Oxford at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is the number 17 team in the country. But thank you, folks, as always, for tuning in to the show. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Remember to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Tell a friend about the show if they love LSU, if they love LSU baseball, if they love LSU sports in general. Tell a friend about the show. And remember, God bless, go Tigers, and have a great one.